qualities in bhakti. And it starts with Prahlad listing his disqualifications. Born in a demoniac family, this and that and the other thing. All these other exalted personalities, by birth, they're vastly superior to me, but they were unable to pacify you. So what am I to do? I'm this insignificant person. You got to come forward, because she won't leave you alone till you come forward. No, not you're okay. There's this lady that wants to be out in the hallway. Thank you. Thank you. Prahlad Maharaj, Canto 7, Chapter 9. That's our topic. And he's offering prayers to Lord Nrsimha Deva. So the first set of prayers, or the second set of what we discussed already, bhakti alone can satisfy the Supreme Lord, and bhakti is independent of any material cause. There's nothing material that can cause bhakti. There's nothing material that can prevent bhakti. Bhakti is independent of material cause. And bhakti is superlative. It's superior to even the greatest of all material qualifications. The greatest of all material qualifications, including, so we heard some topics on that point. 12 Brahminical qualifications. We just circulated a little document from Mahabharata, 12 Brahminical qualifications. Supposing one has all 12 Brahminical qualifications, but is not a devotee, there are such persons, brahmanas, that are not devotee brahmanas, they're just brahmanas, learned and this and that. They can't purify themselves or their families, but a Vaishnava, a devotee, even if they're born in a low family, even if this and that, if they're singularly devoted to the personality of Godhead, they can purify the whole world. So that's the credential, that somehow is from Narada Muni. From Narada Muni, Prahlad received bhakti. So he's carrying that bhakti that he received from Narada Muni. So that must be what pleases you. And then we heard the next section is how Prahlad, right away, he requests the Lord to withdraw his anger. And then he goes on to say that I'm not afraid of these features, this roaring and your gnashing teeth and the garland of intestines and blood strewn all over the place and your wedge-like ears. And I'm not afraid of those things because that's meant for the non-devotee. And you come for the happiness and well-being of the whole universe. So you come for the devotee. So I'm not afraid of the features that you're exhibiting. I'm afraid of that kind of bad association in this world that takes away the tendency to want to be in service to you. The affinity for being your servant. So fear and fearlessness was the next topic. And then the last topic, the topic we heard midday today or late morning today, is the unique position of bhakti. So he's now going to begin expanding on the merits of bhakti. So we heard some nice prayers from Prahlad, how beneficial bhakti is. And now this is the section Just 4 verses, 22, 23, 24, 25. 4 verses discussing he's not looking for the personality of Godhead to provide him material elevation because his father was on top of the pile. He was more powerful than the demigods, and to achieve the greater power than the demigods, great austerities he underwent in a flash. It was all that opulence and position was taken from him by the personality of Godhead. So please don't offer me some material benediction, please. So that's our topic, and here's the first of the verses. Hopefully the first of the verses. Here we go. My dear Lord, O Supreme Great, you have created this material world of 16 constituents. We heard about these 16 constituents. 16, 5, 5, 5, and 1. 5 knowledge-acquiring senses, 5 working senses, 5 objects of the senses, that's 15, and the mind. So, centered about the mind. 16 constituents, but you are transcendental to their material qualities. You're the source, you created, but you're transcendental to that which you've created. In other words, these material qualities are under your full control, and you are never conquered by them. Therefore, nice big orange letters, the time element is your representation. Time, kalos me, time I am. So time is an energy, or kala shakti. Time is an energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And time energy is an instrument through which he acts in the material world. Time moves matter. Matter doesn't move on its own. Living entities plus time. Living entities plus time. So living entities need time to move matter. Time energy. Time element is your representation. My Lord, O Supreme, no one can conquer you. As for me, I am being crushed by the wheel of time. And therefore I surrender fully unto you. Now kindly take me under the protection of your lotus feet. So he previously was asking, the request was, teach me the ways of bhakti. And now it's quite similar, please take me under your lotus feet. So focus is going to go to this feature of time. The time element is your representation. So we've seen, this is a watch, an old-fashioned watch, and watches can tell you what time it is. It's a measure of time. But has anyone seen time? We've seen the passage of time, and time destroys things. Time also brings things into being. But what's that feature of time? I, among subduers, I am time. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. Time I am, the great destroyer of all worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. Chapter 11, Bhagavad Gita. So time is destructive. And another word that was in the verse, nishpidamana, tispidyamanam, I'm being crushed. Prabhupada's comment on that word in his Bhaktivedanta purport. Every living entity in the material condition is actually being crushed again and again. Now that's the covering, not the soul. Souls aren't crushed. To be saved from this position, one must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then one will be happy. This pursuit of happiness, or wishing to give to his audiences, Prabhupada would expressed again and again. He wanted that people should be happy. He wanted that people should not be crushed again and again, or be on the receiving end of the cruel hand of the material energy, being crushed by the material energy. Why should we take shelter of Krishna? When we give up our, Prabhupada's purport, when we give up our constitutional position, Jiver Svarupaya Krishnera Nityadas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead creates this material energy and her influence over the conditioned soul. And we can't give up our constitutional position because it's our constitutional position. You can't stop being a living entity. You can't give it up. But you can abandon acting in that consciousness and act otherwise, as if you're not the eternal servant of the Supreme. I'm the enjoyer. The enjoyer of what? The enjoyer of stuff. The enjoyer of the energy that's God's energy. So that means we leave the position of being the servant and take the position of the thief. The property of the Supreme becomes my property, and I'm the enjoyer of my property. So that's the abandoning of our constitutional position. And therefore, the material energy is created. It's a little bit Sankhya. We touched on this earlier. He's not a Sankhya philosopher, but he certainly knows the relationship between matter and spirit and the controller of both. So if one is disposed towards abandoning the position of being the servant of the Supreme, then the material energy is supplied so one can try to be the enjoyer of the material energy of the Supreme, but it's his energy. But so it's supplied because the living entity wants the position of being an enjoyer. Therefore, he is the Supreme, and only he can deliver the conditioned soul from the onslaught of material nature. Mam evaye prapadyante, mayamitam tarantite. It's his energy. He expands it, and he can withdraw it. He alone can withdraw it. He alone can relieve the living entity of the unnecessary suffering. And how is that? This by the process of surrender. Prapanam is one of the phrases in this verse. Unless one fully surrenders to the Supreme Lord, one cannot be saved from being crushed. So he's taking the same phrase and repeating the same phrase because it's appropriate. It's like poetic. Even an expert swimmer will never be able to swim across the ocean of material existence. We need mercy of Krishna and his devotees. So Prahlad he's in the conclusion when he's declining the material position. Please don't offer to me material happiness or material anything, because I saw already my father had it all and he lost it in a moment. It's my direct experience, so please don't offer any or all of that to me. He's being very clear. Why is he ruling out other things and taking only devotional service? It's a losing proposition. No, thank you. Next verse. My dear Lord, people in general want to be elevated to the higher planetary systems for a long duration of life, opulence, and enjoyment. But I've seen all of these through the activities of my father. When my father was angry and he laughed sarcastically at the demigods, they were immediately vanquished simply by seeing the movements of his eyebrows. Yet my father, who was so powerful, has now been vanquished by you within a moment. more powerful than the powerful demigods, laughing sarcastically at the power of the puny demigod. And he was smashed in a moment. So here's some illustrations of heavenly pleasure. But in the fire of annihilation, it may last for a long, long, long time, the heavens and heavenly pleasure. But it's all destroyed. It's described in the commentary. The fire of annihilation destroys everything. Here's Hiranyakashipu engaging in austerity so much so that his whole body was covered with anthill. Then Brahma came and poured, because fire was coming out of his head. And everyone was afraid, what, this entity inside this anthill? So he poured his kamandala water and restored his body into a youthful, beautiful body. And he wanted this benediction, that benediction, the other benediction, but in a moment it was all destroyed. So what appears to be, we heard this already from a different perspective. Here's the temporary nature of the material well-being. Before it was the mitigation of the misery. The systems for mitigating misery are more miserable than the misery. So that's not an option. Thank you. There's only one option. That's devotional service. It is making, from different directions, angles of perspective or perception. Bhakti is the only solution. So the other solutions have this feature of duality. It looks nice, but it's not nice. And it lures one into pursuing it looks nice because it looks nice, or may even feel on the temporary platform the senses, yehi samsparshaja bhoga, but dukkha yonaya evate. It's actually a misery, dukkha. So, same purport. Prahlad Maharaj did not give any importance to anything in the material world. No one can maintain his body or material achievements forever. A Vaishnava can understand that nothing within this material world, not even that which is powerful, opulent, and or influential, can endure. At any time, because time destroys anything, it helps bring things into being. Time is essential to bring things into being, but it also destroys everything. At the same time, such things may be vanquished. And who can vanquish them? One from whom they come, the supreme source of everything. Next verse. In red letters, Prabhupada is going to give emphasis to Nija, Bhritya, Parshvam. My dear Lord, now I have complete experience concerning the worldly opulence, mystic power, longevity, and other material pleasures enjoyed by all living entities, from Lord Brahma down to the ant. Again, time. As powerful time, you destroy them all. No, time is essential for creation. Time is essential for destruction. So that which comes into being must go out of being. It's just how things work. And he's understood it. He's not looking for bringing something into being or lose the pain of losing that which came into being. Therefore, because of my experience, I do not wish to possess them. My dear Lord, I request you to place me in touch with your pure devotee, and let me serve him as a sincere servant. So these are teachings of a Mahajan, a great perfected soul. And he's aware of the temporary nature, the destructive feature of time. Some persons are interested in sense gratification in the heavenly planets, in this realm, or any place they can get sense gratification, bhukti. Or Some are frustrated with what they expected to be happiness and they want something else. So they want liberation. Bhukti mukti, you know the verse, or siddhi, kami, sakale ashanta. When it's not peaceful. An interesting yogi doing a headstand in the pavement. And he's got some mystic powers to do what he's doing. But it's not a place of happiness, ashanta. No, I've seen it all. Prahlad rejected them all. He simply wanted to engage as an apprentice under the guidance of a pure devotee. Now, he already has that relationship with Narada from the get-go, from when within the womb and thereafter, and still continuously. But recognizing that's the place of shelter, not something else, that's what I want. So the wants, there's the do not want and the want. Desire is not a problem. It's what you desire. That's the issue. So he desires the lotus feet of the Lord. He desires bhakti. He desires the shelter and being under the guidance of Narada Muni. So now comes this same phrase, Nija Britya Parshvam. Nija Britya Parshvam. The association of your faithful servant. And squeaky clean. That means I don't want anything else. Complete rejection of that which is temporary. So here's a little, I don't know what the right way to call it, little diagram that indicates how bhakti works. Graphic. Maybe that's the right way to call it. So if the mind is faithful and steady, the force of spiritual instruction, that's that arrow on the upper left, the force of spiritual instructions can lift the soul and maintain the soul in an elevated position. So that fulcrum there, that's the mind. You have to have a steady mind. Good luck having a steady mind. But then instruction, and then the living entity becomes lifted by a steady mind and good spiritual instructions. So here's the same. So there's the fulcrum, there's the mind, and there's the conditioned soul, that skinny guy over there on the left, that's us, covered soul. And supposing the mind becomes fixed with faith and through instructions, determination, and here comes this nice instruction. Guess what? There he goes. Living entity becomes elevated in consciousness. Pretty simple. Really simple. And not only elevated in consciousness, but all nice spiritual qualities become the decorations of such a devotee. That's what Prahlada is teaching us. And that the bhakti life is teaching us. Now, that which is of the temporary, don't pursue the temporary, because that's a fool's mission. Now, the final verse of this section, again, the illusion of happiness in the material world. Because that was the banner at the very beginning. No, thank you. Material happiness, don't promise me material happiness, thank you. No, thank you. In this material world, every living entity desires some future happiness, which is exactly like a mirage in the desert. Where is water in the desert? Or in other words, where is happiness in this material world? As for the body, what is its value? It is merely a source of various diseases. The so-called philosophers, scientists, and politicians know this very well, but nonetheless, they aspire for temporary happiness. Happiness is very difficult to obtain, but because they are unable to control their senses, then run after the so-called happiness of the material world and never come to the right conclusion. He's at least a little boy, but he's got it down. And we hear these same messages and we go, yeah. And anyway, there's a photograph of a mirage. There's a desert. And desert, by definition, is a place where there's no water, but there's some water. But it's not water. It's a reflection of the sun on the silicon, and it looks like water. The reflection looks like water, but it's not water. No such thing in a desert. Prahlad's inexperienced. He's young, but he's very experienced. As one cannot stop a blazing fire this is Prabhupada's purport, by constantly pouring ghee upon it, one cannot satisfy oneself by increasing plans for sense enjoyment. I mean, that's the material foolishness or paradigm. I just need more pleasure, then I'll get happiness and it'll mitigate the misery. Searching, striving for more sense gratification, sensory contact with sense object, happiness, doesn't mitigate the misery, doesn't create real happiness either. Rather, pouring fuel on a fire, pouring ghee on a fire. And different ways of saying the same thing. This is Prahlad's way of saying. Here's Bhagavad Gita's way of saying. There's the tree with the branches down and the roots going up. And there's no such tree except the reflection of a real tree on the surface of water. And the surface of water is desire. On the surface, or the mind, desires within the mind. And then something looks what it isn't. And the thing that is, it looks like it isn't. That's the Bhagavad Gita example of material desire. Rather, we have to follow the instructions of Lord Krishna. Sarva dharmam parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja. Then we shall be happy. And it's true. Otherwise, in the name of happiness, we shall continue to suffer miserable conditions. And it's true. But that is a short version of this section number 5, where Prahlad is anticipating the mitigation of material suffering by offering material happiness. No, thank you. I saw it all. I saw it with particularly, I saw it with my father, and at once it was gone. Now he's pretty detached. That's his father that just got discombobulated. But he understands very clearly the nature of his father. The nature of his father was, a murderer of his own son, and through many other henchmen to kill him. Anyway, he's a wicked person. He's not biologically okay, but character-wise, not a fit person. The demigods were celebrating, yay! But then when he was killed, but just to have the mission of Prahlad, in addition to spreading the message of bhakti far and wide, which is what he will do later on as he goes further, he is pacifying the personality of Godhead. The intimate relationship. And so he's giving reasons why Lord Nrsimha Deva should withdraw his anger. And in addition to withdrawing his anger, he's anticipating the benediction that's going to be offered. In addition to placing his hand upon his head, he's going to want Prahlad to take some benediction from him. He's already asked for several of them, and he's ruled out some other ones. In the yes department, it's the association of Narada, or your elevated devotee. I can be the apprentice of that elevated devotee. I would like you to place your lotus feet in my heart. I'd like you to give your instructions on bhakti. That's what he wants. He's very clear what he wants. And what he doesn't want is also very clear. And he's already demonstrated. Earlier, opportunities for the opulent life. His father wanted him to take the opulent life. He was not inclined. We face some obstacles, but nothing like what he faced. And we don't have the qualification to face what he faced. So there's a statement in more than one place where Prabhupada says that devotee may be put into tribulation, but never put into a tribulation beyond what they can endure. That is, the personality of Godhead knows what our capacity is. And we can endure this, but we can't endure that. So he doesn't give us that. He gives us what we can endure. And the enduring some tribulation may, at least potentially, to take deeper shelter and to dismiss the false shelters as we move forward in our devotional life. So either us or someone dear to us or a friend or someone somewhere undergoing some difficulty. We touched on this topic also. My devotee never perishes. He protects his devotee, but protection may include some tribulation. And the answer to that tribulation is there. The practical answer may be a spiritual answer, not matter's going to do an about face and 180 degrees instead of being uncomfortable becomes comfortable. That's not the promise. Not the path. But higher consciousness is the path. Okay. Well, it's nice all of you could come, although, the Baltimore Temple program is going on. Here we are. Let's see if there's some discussion.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Some small by kind of question, but what happened to Prahlad Maharaj after he getting the kingdom of all the three universes, because his father was holding everything, and now he is killed by Nrsimha Deva. Then
what he do? What happened next?
Yeah, and then he says that I want to be the apprentice of a devotee.
He became a king, and kings have those that guide king. So he had his guide that guided him, and as was promised, he returned to the spiritual world at the end of his life. Those are the two next things that happened. He became a king.
And his grandson, Bali Maharaj.
Yes.
So he was also was he also of demonic nature, or just because he was trying to get the kingdom of the Swarga, just because of that he was taken down again?
I'm going to make a request of you. Let's stay on topic.
Sure.
And the Bali Maharaj topic is a wonderful topic. It's a wonderful topic for another time.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu Maharaj. But you said it is little of the topic, so maybe I'll. Because here, like Prahlad Maharaj is saying that, like material life, in material life, you have a suffering all the time. And when you take
That's on topic.
Oh, yeah, that's on top. So when you surrender to Krishna, when you surrender to Lord, then all this material, your difficulties, He will take away.
No, wait a minute. Do you get old?
Sorry?
Are you going to get old?
Yes.
Are you going to get disease?
Yes.
Are you going to die?
Yes.
But I thought you just said He's going to take all those miseries away. Those are miseries.
Those are miseries, yeah.
So be careful what you say.
Yes. I'm trying to connect it with the Satyajit Maharaj. So he got killed because it is said in explanation is that because he blamed Krishna, whereas he surrendered to Krishna earlier by giving Satyabhama and everything and even the money. So death is eventually going to come. That is correct. But the way he got killed was something, after reading that, I thought like it is, can we consider that as a part of a misery that it is still, he had to go through that.
Who's the he you're referring to?
Satyajit Maharaj. Satyajit, not
Satyajit.
Satyajit,
Okay.
yeah. Satyajit.
Okay. So it is definitely off topic. Now the story of Satyajit, the story of Satyajit is a different story, but the principle is, he was offensive, and he had there's offense has consequence. Everything we plus, minus, and in between has consequence. Spiritual material. So he made big spiritual mistake. So he had there are consequences.
But once you surrender and even chant the name of the Krishna, once it is said that like even the sin which are in a seed like sin, they will be also vanished or like they will all burn out. So Satyajit, because he blamed, but after that he surrendered to Krishna. He even offered Satyabhama to him.
Yeah.
He offered, but still there is a consequences that he suffered. Okay.
Not just give away your daughter and your jewel and everything's nice. So he had some residual responsibility. It's not wash his hands and everything fine. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. That's good. Be sorry, don't do it again. And there's consequence still. But it's a different topic.
The law of karma is applicable to everyone,
No.
including devotees.
No. You know that.
But after reading this part of Bhagavatam, we were just a little bit confused a few days back.
How about this? Next time I visit, we can take the Satyajit as a topic.
Okay.
And somebody remind me when next time I come. Just focus on this topic.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure at least you're noticed when we'll try to organize it so you can be there.
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be definitely there.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Wonderful
Okay.
lecture.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for the beautiful class. I have two questions, Maharaj. First thing, Prahlad Maharaj is a pure devotee of Krishna. So he is already a pure devotee. And like you said, material miseries are part of any living entity, even if he is a devotee. So what is the real protection he is receiving? Because he is already a pure devotee means he's going back to Godhead is also certain. So what is the real protection he is receiving? So
Oh, you're smart. You know the answer to that one. You want me to say it,
Please, Maharaj.
but you know the answer. What protection is he really receiving? That really receiving is his bhakti. Although there's challenges this way, that way, and the other way, his bhakti is intact. That's the real protection. His bhakti is being protected, even in opposition.
Yes. And second question, Maharaj. As a devotee of Krishna, Prahlad Maharaj never hates anyone. Even his father, how much ever torture he is giving, he is not hating him.
No.
So what was his consciousness is going on when he is getting killed before his own eyes?
We remember the scorpion example? that same.
Okay. So he just accepted the fate.
It's the mercy of the personality of Godhead that someone that's cobra-like or scorpion-like is killed. It's beneficial for everyone, including the scorpion or the snake that's being killed. Their life in that envious, strike others without and provocation spirit is taken from them. That vicious tendency is removed. Now, it doesn't mean that in the next life, that scorpion or cobra serpent-like person goes back to Godhead. That's not what happened. There's a little where's Shankadari? He's not here. Okay. You send me a little note, and I'll send you a little document that says what happened to Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu and Ravana and Kumbhakarna after they were killed, and where'd they go? So the sinfulness was removed, but they didn't go back to Godhead because they didn't have devotion to the personality of Godhead. So they went somewhere. They're on hold, and there's a little document that describes from our acharyas the answer to that question. So they were benefited because that nature was removed, but not until they were killed by Krishna, Shishupala and Dantavakra, that they returned to the spiritual realm. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Something further.
Yes, Maharaj.
I'm ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. So, because the same enmity they still carried, it is only because of the curse they need to take the 3 lives?
Well, they voluntarily took this position so that Lord Vishnu could have a chivalrous desire fulfilled. So they became chivalrous. So there was a circumstance of how that happened.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so
Jai
much.
Vijay.
Yes.
And Shishupala, and it's not the Kumaras cursed them. So that's how it happened. But it was by inspiration of their desire to be in a chivalrous relationship with personality of Godhead. You know the story. Yes.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Can I request you to go to a graphic slide where you talked about a covered consciousness?
You like that?
Yeah, very much. I couldn't note down the one portion of that slide.
We'll go right back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
Is this the one you want?
The next one, Maharaj.
Next one.
Sorry, couple of more. Okay, this one. Okay, got it. Yeah. Yes. So I was noting that two things I was noting from this one. One is that mind need to be fixed in firm faith and determination as a call, for spiritual instructions to have an impact.
No, there's an impact, but it's not full.
Mm.
How many people have fixed and firm faith and determination?
Few,
Not too many. Some, but not too many. But still, spiritual instruction has an impact. It helps make the mind firm and fixed.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's potency, or the potential is there. Okay. Yeah.
So I remember about the determination. In Nectar of Instruction, we hear one way to improve on the determination is by fasting and Ekadasi or festivals like that.
Controlling the senses.
Controls. Any other guidance for increasing the determination, Guru Maharaj?
Well, you know, my favorite, Sadhu Sangha. And and the process of hearing. Supposing one's not good at fasting, supposing some, being very diligent. One of the descriptions that we heard going back was who was Prahlad before he was Prahlad. And so one of those descriptions in one text is, by accident, he was the son of a Brahmana who had become fallen in the association of a prostitute, and together they quarreled, and then they would happen to be in Nrsimha Chaturdasi, and they fasted on Nrsimha Chaturdasi. He wasn't prone to austerity; he just by accident. So, and the statement in that connection by Lord Nrsimha Deva to Prahlad, that this kind of observing of this Nrsimha Chaturdasi Vrata, which is coming up, is this person, that person, the other person achieve great results because they also observe this, knowingly, or what to speak of, you unknowingly. You got great benefit. So, knowingly, unknowingly. There's other examples, but knowingly or unknowingly, observing some control of the mind and senses, and at an auspicious time. Because, somebody may quarrel with his wife or girlfriend or something or somebody, and they get really distressed. So then there's austerity. That's one kind of austerity. But so voluntary austerity, tapo divyam, you know the verse. Rishabh Dev instructing his sons, don't nayam deha bhajam nirloke kastan kaman arhate vid bhujamye. Tapo divyam, don't engage in materialistic activity. Tapo divyam, divine austerity, tapa, for this, that means for the satisfaction of the Supreme. So, what most devotees or aspiring devotees do is they follow certain principles of eating habits, and the four principles, and that's a tapa. And then there can be, so that's baseline, and then there's going further, and it's beneficial. It's helping to make wet wood dry wood. It's not in itself a spiritual asset, unless the intention behind that austerity is that the personality of Godhead should be pleased. Then there's spiritual benefit. So your question is how to strengthen the mind's being determined and firm faith. That's your question. And yes, accepting some divine austerity is recommended. It's right in the Bhagavatam, and it's within our lifestyle. And gradually, as within reason, something that we can maintain, we gradually reduce necessities. So they're still necessities, but they're reduced in all, or at least some of those departments of necessity. And it's not just eating less or sleeping less or something less. It's the purpose behind it. That's where the strength comes. That's the divyam part of tapa. Otherwise, tapa produces material. Material tapa produces material fruit. The people that built America, that the skyscraper buildings and that this and that the other thing, it's tapa to do all that stuff. The construction workers that build buildings, it's tapa. And that's just workers. So what to speak of all the other people that do the technology, and so there's tapa behind material. There's tapa behind spiritual. So it was the tapa that's behind spiritual is that the personality of Godhead should be pleased by it. So that is prescribed types. Okay. And those are all beneficial.
Guru Maharaj, Prahlada Maharaj is saying, like, I feel I'm being crushed by the wheel of time. I think it's like it's an instruction for us.
Yes.
I don't think he is feeling that.
He's feeling, but he's not being.
Yeah, okay, he's not mean. Because yesterday I saw Karanuttam Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple. He was during lunch, so he was asking how did the 64 round going, and then just suddenly he told like, 2 days ago I had a heart attack.
He had a heart attack?
Heart attack. And he went, and then they found a block and they stented. And what he was doing, Sandini also told me, and I saw him. He saw the grass dried in the temple, many areas, and he's digging holes and using a
backhoe.
Yeah. So he was
Okay.
plugging that. That's what he plugged, right? He totally knew. Yeah. So that's why, and he was not feeling anything like about what happened. Just as a matter of fact, he said, the Prabhupada's temple, gratitude, this multiplies over here. So
you're appreciating his bhakti.
Yes.
That's what you're doing.
Yes.
And his being above pain.
Yeah. And is not concerned about that it is dangerous.
There's some elevated devotees that were in the company of, and it's nice to appreciate and recognize them. But that's the byproduct. But back to your question, he's responding to your question. That's tapa.
Yeah.
For the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead. And who's keeping score? I mean, listen, if you hadn't had that conversation with you, wouldn't even have known, but he got his Krishna points.
Okay.
He got a report card. Krishna points. So Krishna knows. And for each of us, what we do and what we don't do, and he's well aware and reciprocating. That's part of your question, the firm mind and determination. Okay. Anything else? Yes, over here.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Haribol.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj are very, very beautiful. It really stirs the emotions in my heart. Guru Maharaj, his teachings, he's only 5 years old and his consciousness is so elevated.
Yeah.
His faith and determination and knowledge is really fixed.
Then
For
look
it.
it up.
Yeah.
That's what's coming next, right?
Yeah. And means sometimes I feel that, within myself also there is a little Prahlad and there is a big Hiranyakashipu. and I, whenever I sing the Nrsimha prayers, I always say, crush that Hiranyakashipu within me, Lord. So Guru Maharaj, what I want to ask is that, Prahlad Maharaj is a pure devotee.
Yes.
And we are beginner. I am
Yes,
a
yes.
beginner devotee, and I am controlled by the modes of nature, the weakness of my heart, and everything, Guru Maharaj. And I know the sadhu sangha or association of devotees
Yeah, you got
is
it.
the solution to all the problems.
How
But
to?
Guru Maharaj,
How to go from being insignificant and tiny to let me become significant. It's not the aspiration of becoming significant. It's the aspiration of being Prahlad Maharaj like. So how do I get there? The process of bhakti. I as you know, I spent a lot of time preparing for and then presenting Madhurya Kandambini, like hundreds of hours. And I learned a lot, and it's still with me. So it's easy for it to come out because it's still with me. And the process of bhakti is the how-to. How does it begin? What are the weeds that choke it? What are the wrong turns we can take that can destroy it, or not destroy it, but damage it and make it no longer manifesting in our lives? So, with the do's and the don'ts in growing bhakti properly. So you just do that. And however small you may be, however beginner you may be, or whatever you may be, the seed has been given, and it's acknowledged, and so it's just in the seed stage. And like your nice expression, there's this big Hiranyakashipu inside. That means the sense gratifier spirit. So that's the position of a neophyte or someone who is beginning the bhakti process. You're not just a beginner, but that's okay. Just think of oneself that way. Then you follow the procedure. It's very clearly spelled out. And so you become familiar with how do you go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, etc. What are the different steps? And you take the steps carefully, consciously, and you avoid the detriments, the danger zones, the landmines, the areas that can destroy bhakti or can make it so covered it's not perceivable. Just follow the process. So to keep it simple, it's just sadhu sangha. Then you unpack it, then it becomes Madhurya Kandambini. Okay. How about our hostess? You want to add something to this conversation?
Very enlightening conversation, and I agree with Sushma Mataji's with what she said, that Prahlad Maharaj is a pure devotee, but we all have those little big Hiranyakashipus inside of us. I really agree with what she said. It's very very nice. And your slide, I liked some of the descriptions. I mean, the depictions in your
Yeah,
slides as well.
Another way of saying the same thing that I said is just read this whole section of the Bhagavatam again and again and again. That's another answer to your question, because he went from that, from the initial nothingness to somethingness, or there's so many narrations, Dhruva Maharaj and Narada Muni, and Bhagavatam is such nourishing literature. Become familiar with it, and by that sound vibration, it's elevating, purifying. That even the little soul that's the very weak and beginning stage can be nourished. All headed in the right direction. Okay, so we're going to end. And we'll see you, some of you at least, we'll see some of you again tomorrow evening. Part 6. Prahlada Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.